Okay. Over what we are doing. Here we go. So in Schoology, everything will be set up by week. So we're in week 1 and we're obviously in Tuesday today. So there's your attendance, and then we will go over our project. Let's talk about the expectations in class. Da, 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 da. You would think I would have everything completely ready, but I have too many tabs open. Every day when you come to class, you have until 8 o'clock. You shouldn't be roaming the halls, as you all know, in the morning. You should be coming right to class or going to breakfast. When you come down, you can just chill, do your thing, and wait for announcements, and then we get started. Just a few friendly reminders. Cell phones, I shouldn't see them. They should be silenced and put away, please, in class. You are more than welcome to listen to music in class when I'm not talking. We would prefer you listen to it on your iPad, though. You should have Spotify on your iPad, but you are more than welcome to listen to music in class, especially when I'm not talking, like I said. Let's see here. Expectations. I need to find my slides. Do you ever do this?
Oh yeah, I have bajillions of tabs open.
I'm just like, where are my slides? Like, I have a bajillion. Let's see.
I think it's gonna save me time to have it all open, and then I can't find the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's seriously. And yesterday we had like a work day where we like learned new things, and yeah, that didn't work either. Like, I was like, oh, this is too much. Give me 1 second. I think I found them. 3.1. Look at that. It's also because there's so many like trimesters. Like, I've never taught 6 trimesters in a year before. Okay, here we go. Presenter view.
Quick question.
Yes. Well, what's up?
So you know how they're dividing the last hexamester into 2 parts?
What, bud?
So you know how they normally divide the school year into hexamesters?
Oh yeah, like the normal 3 trimesters, and now we have 6. Yes.
Are they dividing the last one into hexamester?
I don't think so. We just have 6 weeks left. That's all I know. So I am Miss Colston. If you don't know me, most of you do. I've had a lot of you in 6th grade. I've seen most of you around school. Just a quick introduction again. This is me. That's my dog, Rock. You might hear him since I'm home from time to time. That's my husband and my stepdaughter. I love traveling, cooking, all sorts of those types of things. This year is very different. I was not anticipating being home the whole school year, but I have been. So Miss Star is awesome.
We're not seeing, it says you're presenting, but we're not
seeing it. Weird. Thanks for telling me. Stop. Weird. You are presenting. Stop presenting. I'm going to stop, and then I'll present again.
I wonder. Oh, there it is.
Perfect. Sometimes technical difficulties per usual. Oh, that's okay. 1 second.
Oh, now it still says you're presenting, but are you pinned? Did you pin your?
So you might have to pin the screen and get me off the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you see both of them?
I don't know how to unpin.
Let me unpin this one. Do you see it now?
No.
1 second. I've never had this problem.
What
about now? Can you see it now?
I can see it, but I'm not sure about them.
Okay, so they can see it on their end.
Oh, I got it. Woo!
Okay, so it's good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll just go through this quick. There was a picture. There's my dog. Here he comes. You'll probably hear him, like I said. this Miss Jones is next door, and she will be helpful if we need her for like where things are. She does teach 3 classes this trimester, so she's super busy with that. But Miss Starr is there for us, which is awesome. So she will be the person who will hand out things to you and such. I am your go-to person though for any questions. I will be sending you messages in Schoology to check in with you. If you're missing work, I'll send messages to you if you turn in something wrong. So checking your messages in Schoology is really important because that's my main way of communicating with you. We also will do like daily sketchbook exercises. You'll get your sketchbooks in just a second. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we have to do things very differently this year in art. We really can't share supplies, so therefore we can't get out things that we normally would. So I've created a 6-week curriculum for you that's still really fun and different, but it is all done in our sketchbooks and at our seats. Your sketchbooks will have to go with you every day. We can't store them. That's another thing with COVID. We can't put them in the storeroom. And so you will need to be responsible for them every single day. Okay, just put them in your bag. Everybody should have a bag with them. Otherwise, you should have a binder or your iPad. So it needs to go with you. Does that make sense to everybody? We cool with that? Okay. I also, Mario, one second, bud. I also will ask a lot for like at least some sort of acknowledgement. And again, I know this is weird to be learning this way, and I really appreciate your flexibility. But we will do a lot of discussions in Schoology because that way I know you're interacting with the learning. Whereas normally we could have these great discussions, but things are just weird and different this year. So we will work daily in our sketchbook, and we will work by unit. So each week we'll have weekly units where we turn everything in week by week. So you'll only turn in discussions via Schoology, and then you'll turn in weekly graphic organizers, and I'll explain and teach you all of that. You will spend most of your time in class working, like 90 to 95% of your time. Art is a studio-based course. It's not a lecture-based class. So I want to make sure you have enough time. My goal is not to over inundate you with like homework and such. Y'all are busy enough. Things are crazy in our lives. So my hope is that you will have enough time in class to complete what you need in the correct way. Recommended supplies. Colored pencils, Sharpies, a black Sharpie, scissors, glue, a ruler. Of course, I have earbuds on here because I personally need to listen to music when I'm working. Your sketchbook, basic supplies. I have 99% of them up front. Remember, you can't share. So like if you need a black Sharpie and your neighbor needs a black Sharpie, you shouldn't be passing it back and forth. This sounds so weird. So please make sure you both grab one. And then there should be a bucket up there that like is marked dirty. Do you guys see that up front? I think it's purple. It's like, I think it says dirty on it. That's where anything you touch supplies wise goes, so it can get sprayed down. Does that make sense to everybody? Some sort of like thumbs up makes sense. Everyone's
Yep.
Cool.
Yes.
Perfect. Daily breakdown, again, if you're spending 45 minutes to an hour working on each thing we learn in class, that's a good judgment of you're doing things correctly and with the right pace and the right craftsmanship that I'm looking for. Okay. Now, some of you are like, oh my God, an hour, but they're pretty intricate designs that we're going to be doing. Some stuff takes even longer. And if you had art in 6th grade, I mean, we literally spent like a week or 2 weeks on a project. So I'm doing things a little differently, but you will have intense work each day in class. Basically how you're graded is there are expectations for each assignment. And if you complete all the expectations fully with your best craftsmanship skills, which means that you're putting in your best effort, you're trying your hardest, you're following instructions, and you hit all the standards, then you're going to get full credit. If you turn in something, it doesn't mean you get full credit. It's just like if you take a test, you don't get an A unless you get it all right. Or you know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing in art where I'm looking for that effort, that time you put in, that craftsmanship you'll hear a lot, which means like the neatness and like what you're putting forth in your assignments. In 6th grade, we had something similar to this chart. I believe it was a tree. But I like to show you the differences. Just so you have an idea of like, oh, okay, so that's why I got full credit and this is why I didn't. So it's just kind of giving you that progression. listen and watch instructions. Again, I try not to take up a ton of your time, but I am going to introduce you to artists and styles and techniques. Yeah, you must turn your work in correctly. I will teach you how to do that, but I really need to make sure you're paying attention to how to turn that work in each week. Because I'll just send you a message and you can always fix it, but it's just easier if you do it correctly the first time. Growing your art skills. That's our whole goal. I've had a lot of kids this year who have actually really enjoyed the progression of our 6 weeks together and like what they've created. We will be doing things from like graffiti to pop art to surrealism, different styles. The hope is like you take your time to create your best work. This is not a race. If you finish work early in class, you can do art related things, but not just like sit on your iPad and watch YouTube. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to hurry up and get this done so I can sit here and watch YouTube. That's not I'll just give you more assignments. So take your time. Another goal is to make connections to the world of others. Every one of us is different in there, which is what makes us unique and great. And hopefully we can help make each other make connections with each other's worlds. So how you do art, you'll log into Schoology, complete your attendance, come to Google if you're VLA or at home, and then you'll follow like the to-do list and the expectations. Remember, Fridays, you do need to come to class on Google, and then you do have to do attendance. That's why I like to do it each day, just so you get in the habit of doing it. It's also, not to lie, it's easier for me at the end of the day when I look at it for all the rest of the attendance. Y'all should know your schedule. Hopefully you do. Is everyone good with their schedule this trimester? Some sort of yes, we're good. If you need to contact me, can always send me an email, always send me a message in Schoology. I can always meet with you, like Google Meet, if you want to meet later in the afternoon, not a problem. Technology we talked about, like keeping your phones away, making sure if you're on your iPad, it's for art-related reasons or you're listening to music. How you turn work in. Photographing your artwork is huge, huge, huge. I'll send messages like, I need you to retake this photo. It needs to be a rock star photo of your artwork because I have kids that turn in pictures like these and I can't grade your work that way because it's not accurate. I can't see it. It's crooked. If I can't make a screenshot of it, like just like a rectangle around it, it's not photographed correctly. Okay. If I can't see the lighting correct, it's not photographed correctly. Does that make sense to everybody? So take good photos of your work. These are examples of like rubrics or graphic organizers that you'll turn in each week. It literally it'll label what you're expected to turn in where. And like this would be a whole week's worth of assignments. Copyright and cheating. It's usually not a huge issue, but a few people this year I have caught like turning in artwork that's not theirs, turning in artwork of other students, turning in artwork from the internet. If that happens, you get an automatic 0. Obviously, I have to deal with the whole like calling your parents and blah, blah, blah. So please don't do that. It's one thing to utilize someone's artwork as ideas and to practice things. There are certain things that I will actually have you like mimic or try to copy when it comes to technique, but that's about the technique, not the creation of the final product. One second, Will, okay? So that is something that we'll talk more about. Will, do you have a question?
Yes. From time to time, I've gotten into photo editing. So I take an image and then edit it so it looks like a completely different image. But when it comes down to it, the base image is still something else.
Yes.
Is that considered copying?
It's a gray area. Usually, it's not considered like. It's a good question. It could be considered copyright if you tried to sell it. But if you are using it as personal artwork and like learning from the skill, typically no. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because a lot of my artwork I do with photo editing. Thanks.
Yep. And Mario, you had your hand up a minute ago. Did you have a question before I move on? Are you good? Let me know if you do. So that's copyright and cheating. I'm not concerned. I'm just throwing it out there. That's a video of all that fun stuff I just said that we don't have to watch. That was made earlier, but it's there in case anyone needs it. So in Schoology, are you guys seeing my Schoology page now? Did it flip back? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. There is a quiz, and it is so simple. It's like literally how to do art, and the reason why I do this quiz, oh, look, all of your names are there. The reason I do this is A, I'm not there and it's weird. B, it's like, just kind of really getting it into your brain of like what the expectations are. So if you all want to take a few minutes, it's 8:22, like take 5 minutes and take the quiz. So everybody should get on their iPads right now and open this up to Tuesday's folder. It's like a free 10 points. And if you bomb it, don't worry, you can retake it. Like I think I have it on there 3 times that you can retake it.
Quick question.
Yes.
I tried the quiz earlier and I couldn't figure out the order of the schedule. I got everything else correct.
The order of the schedule. Let me look.
Because it says stuff like first attendance, then blah, blah, blah. But I got the attendance first wrong.
See, I don't even know my own questions. Look at that. One second, Will, and I'll look at it. I have to look at it from a different end. And everybody should be able to get into it. Is everybody able to? Will, did you not submit it yet?
I did submit it. It might not have loaded though, because I did around pound 750.
1 second. Oh, Will, you're in my second hour, silly.
I am?
Yeah, it's okay. You can stay.
Oh.
I know. I was like, wait a minute.
That's embarrassing. Wait, does that mean I need to get to my science class?
Probably. Maybe you should go do your science class and then jump.
I'll just check back in at 2 o'clock.
Perfect. All right, everybody able to get in? Mario, do you have your hand up, bud?
Yeah, I'm wondering if I can contact you by carrier pigeon.
Somebody else asked me that. I wish. If you actually have a carrier pigeon, by all means. All right. It's 8:25. Let me check my grade book. Got a few coming in. Is everyone doing okay? Again, if you miss questions, you can retake it. And if something doesn't make sense, let me know. I think my questions make sense, but that's because I'm the one writing them. Couple more minutes. I got some more coming in. About a minute. If you're finished, you can just flip your iPad, and then that'll kind of give us be our cue that you're done. So looking good, pretty good, Miss Star?
Looks like we've got a couple people finishing up.
Perfect. Miss Star, if you don't mind, while they're finishing up, handing out the sketchbooks to everybody.
Absolutely.
Perfect, because y'all will need that because we're going to start your first project today. So Miss Star is handing out your sketchbooks. When you get your sketchbook, if you would please open it up and inside the front cover, write your first and last name and first hour, just in case it gets dropped or lost. People know where to bring it. So first and last name and hour. If you need a pencil or something to write with, there should be stuff up front.
Oh,
Yeah, Mario, what's up?
can you bring your own sketchbook, or do you have to get one from the school?
If you have your own, that's totally fine. I just provide them for everybody.
Okay.
Yep, if you have your own, that's totally fine. Does everybody have a writing utensil? Are there pencils up front? Are there pencils up there? There should be.
Yeah.
Perfect. There is a pencil sharpener also over by the door. So if you need to sharpen it. And so remember, first name and last name. Please don't put anything on the actual cover because that will become a project that we're going to do. The back cover is free reign. You can do whatever you want, school appropriate on the back, but the front will become a project we do together. Inside your sketchbook is blank white paper. Now that is actually put together with 3 prongs. So if you're somebody who, like I'm left-handed, so that would drive me nuts. I would rather work on paper that's like loose and then put it back in. If that is your jam and you're like, this is annoying, in the back of the folder, you'll see the prongs that you can pull apart and take the pages out. Please don't rip them out because then you won't be able to put them back in. But if they're bothering you, not a problem. There's also extra white paper, I believe up front. So if you make a mistake or you see that you're running out, you can always add more or replace paper as well. So I tried to make it as easy as possible this year with what we have. Is everybody ready to start our first project? Is everyone ready to listen to what we're going to do? Are we cool? Mario, you cool? You raising your hand?
Sorry, that was an accident.
Oh, that's fine. Miss Star, does it seem like I can move on?
It looks like a few people need to put their iPads on. Okay. Yes, it looks like they're ready to go.
Perfect. We are going to start with our first project, and it's entitled More or Less. And I've started with this twice now. I kind of switch things up each trimester, but I've started with this one twice now. And it's a really good indicator of where you're at with your art. It's an awesome space for you to create how you are personally feeling. This has been a really tough year for people. Things are crazy, just very out of the norm. This was based around an artist her name is Julia Rothman, and she created, instead of a New Year's resolution list or a bucket list, she created a more of this, a less of this list. And a lot of it does, of course, revolve around like the COVID stuff, because that's kind of, people really started realizing that they needed more sleep in their life and less stress and that sort of thing. Now, your goal is to create a complete work of art using illustrations. Now, like I said, Julia Rothman is the artist that this is based on. And her work, I'm going to show you a quick kind of synopsis of her work. She is considered an illustrator, and she teaches on Skillshare, and she has like work that companies buy to print on like textiles and fabrics and things like that. But when I say an illustrator, her work is more simplified. So I'm not looking for like super detailed drawings unless that's the route you want to go. You can kind of see here that it's like basically a list. It's an illustrated list. So we're going to watch this real fast. I'm going to mute myself so y'all can hear and there's not feedback. Ms. Star, will you let me know if there's feedback?
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
In the beginning, working for myself was really scary. You didn't know if you were going to get a job or not. You just sat and waited. I'd spent some time doing my own work, but mostly I was like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to pay the rent? A really big turning point in my career was when I decided I was going to do Surtex. I saw all these independent artists sitting at these booths with a stack of patterns, and I thought, oh, wow, I can do this. So then I decided I would make my own patterns while I was doing client work during the day. At night, I was making patterns just for myself of anything I wanted, things I saw around my house. Plants, okay, a pattern of plants. Shoes, oh, I'll make a pattern of shoes. And I made 100 of them, and I thought, if I sell all of these, I'm going to be rich. But that didn't really happen. The best thing that came out of that was that Grace Bonney, the founder of Design Sponge, came to my booth, and she really liked my work. And the next day, she wrote about me on her site. After that, I got all these emails from all these companies I wanted to work for, like Urban Outfitters and Chronicle Books. And that's kind of how I got my whole career started. It's awesome to have your work everywhere on walls and on people's dishes. To go from nothing to being really happy and satisfied was like a long journey. I worked really long hours, and I worked weekends, and I did all-nighters a lot of the time, and I did deadlines that were in an hour, and that part got me here.
So that's a quick breakdown of who she is and her journey. And again, she was picked up by the New York Times over the new year this year with her illustrations and her more or less list. And it basically set it up to help people create these lists to be more creative and to kind of just work through what they're going through. So what your stuff is going to look like is it's basically like drawing like the year ahead. It's like a list to help you with your intentions moving through the rest of the school year. Now, how you want to do this, and I try to make sure my instructions are so everyone can understand them. They're like written, and then I have picture examples, expectations written down. So what you're going to do is you're going to download the graphic organizer document that is attached to today's slideshow into Notability. And I'm going to show you that in a second. On that graphic organizer, there on the right side, you'll see a list, and it's where you're going to create your list of more things you want and your list of less things you want. So maybe you want more sports and less Netflix because maybe you've binged enough Netflix to last you a lifetime, but you have not been able to participate in your team sports because of COVID. Maybe you want more vegetables in your life because all you've been eating is Sour Patch Kids. So maybe more vegetables, less Sour Patch Kids. There's all sorts of different things. You need at least 5 on each side. So at least 5 things you want more of and 5 things you want less of. Okay. You are going to divide your paper in half however you want. A lot of the examples, it shows that being divided vertically, up and down. I don't care if you divide it diagonally, vertically, horizontally, with a zigzag. I don't care. You divide your paper however you want. Okay. For full credit, you need to use your space that is provided. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a ton of examples. Icons are, they're illustrations. They're things that you can, like, this is one of Julia's with all these giraffes. A lot of times they repeat, they're repetitive, they're simplified drawings. So it's however you want to illustrate that word, if that makes sense. So for instance, you can see even with clouds, I love this picture here because as we are moving into freshman year of high school, we are almost done with 8th grade. I am looking for that creativity and that craftsmanship. What's going to set you apart from everybody else in class? If you want more sunny days, are you going to draw a sun in the corner with sunglasses on, kind of like you did in kindergarten? Or are you going to go and find something super creative to draw to represent a sun? Look at all these different ways that you can represent something as simple as a cloud. So that's one reason why I like to show that example. Be creative. Like, how do you want to express what you're sick of? Like, how do you want to express what you want to add into your life? You will need, basically to show you the difference, we talk a lot about plans in 6th grade. If you had 6th grade art where we would plan everything out, we will still plan a few things out this year, but a lot of times we just kind of dive in to our artwork. But if something gets turned in that looks like this to me is in the plan phase, which means that it doesn't have detail. It doesn't have any color. The words more and less don't have any sort of typographical fun art font to them. It's very simplified. It looks more like literally I threw my ideas on a piece of paper, which is totally fine if that's how you want to start your project. But this would be in the plan phase. This would be in the, okay, now I'm ready to turn in final phase. Notice how this particular person uses their space on their paper. Notice how they created their words. Notice how they have the words next to each piece. This particular person used a character. You don't have to. You can just use pictures. Here are some student examples that I'm going to show you for their more or less. Think of, like, I love this way that this sun is done. I love how this student did a border, and their border is different depending on which part of the paper. This person kind of stuck with a character as well, and you can tell, even though they wrote stress, which I love that they wrote the word, you can kind of tell from the way that the character is expressing themselves that they're stressed out. Here are some others. Notice the way that color is utilized. Now, you have options for color for this. I don't care if you use Sharpies, if you use markers, if you use colored pencils. If you use Sharpies, it will bleed through. If you take your page out and then put it on the table and use Sharpies, it'll bleed through the table. So you will get something called bleed paper. Miss Jones is going to cut that for me today. But today you don't have that yet. So just put an extra sheet of paper behind it, or just know that you will bleed through and you can replace that page tomorrow. Here's some more. Look at this one. They use all sorts of icons here. I think I have that one on there twice. I do. I must have liked it twice. This one is done digitally. So if you're a digital person, there's just a ton of different examples. And the students did a really, really great job. Now, how you're going to turn it in, I actually changed this graphic organizer last night, so I need to change it on my slide. But here's your graphic organizer. And you'll see here, and I will share this tab. This is how you're going to turn it in. You need to download this today because your list is going to go here. So your list of at least 5 things you want more of, and at least 5 things you want less of. So you're going to write that list here. Does that make sense? So your first step is to write the list. Notice this frame here is where the final drawing will go. But notice you have 2 more frames because we have 2 more days this week. This week's work will not be due until Monday, and we will have time to catch up on Monday as well. So you will get plenty of work time, but just kind of heads up of how the timing works. So I'm going to go back to the expectations page, because I'm kind of throwing a lot at you for day 1. So again, on that graphic organizer, you want your list of 5 things that you want more of and 5 things you want less of. You can use text box in Notability or write it, I don't care, but that's what goes there for now. Then you will take your list and create illustrations and create a creative work of art with craftsmanship. Does this make sense to everybody of what your job is today during class for our work time? Is there any confusion? And it's totally fine if there is. This is, again, weird for me to teach you from a screen. It's our first day together. Some of you have never had me. Some of you haven't had art for a long time. So it's kind of a new, like, whoa, what's happening? Does everyone feel ready to start?
There is some nodding. Not a lot, but there's some.
Okay, so I'm going to give you work time. It's 8:40. At 9:20, we clean up. So we have 40 minutes to do this. Usually the next day, so like tomorrow, I usually start with like 15 to 20 minutes of work catch-up time. So if you like don't get finished today in class, don't freak out. You'll have time to catch up on that tomorrow before we move on. Does the expectations make sense? Okay, you guys can start. You can listen to your music, get the supplies you need.